one year I don't know, they've done it every year, but one year we were, I think probably Richard and Jerry and I were gonna decorate it, and they were making snow out of ivory soap.
Ivory flakes.
Ivory, whatever it was. They brought it in, and, you know, Tenny was in there and Gladys and everybody, and we were, you know, doing it on the limbs and doing it real nice. They left the room, and somebody said, "This is taking too long." So we just started throwing it up.
Sorry. You're fine.
And it looked real pretty. But a few weeks after we got home, Daddy called me in there and he said, "You boys, what'd y'all do with that snow on that Christmas tree?" And I said, "Well, we decorated it." He said, "Well, I guess Jack, whoever it was, when they took the tree down, all that, there was the whole wall was just covered with dried ice." So we got in trouble with that. How many of you remember Paul's cup? Put the money in for your Cokes and everything? Yeah.
I don't know whether you remember or not, but your dad would come to the front door over there and come up on the porch and to the front door and knock, and you'd have a lady's stocking over his head and he'd scare, you know, people. And then Roy Spiegel would have a knife and put it under a wash tub, and he'd have a bunch of you guys around and tell you when they moved that wash pot lid or tub to reach in there and grab it. Well, he had cow turds in it. Yeah. Yeah. Remember that?
I don't remember that. That's difficult to do.
And I remember, oh yeah. I know it. I remember sitting on the streets here in Cisco, and somebody come up and roared me head down with a little toy gun, and he jumped up and let that scare him. He was quite a character.
I can tell a story, let's see if Ann remembers it. She and I were horseback. We rode horseback out there when Hartville and them guys show up. And then the neighbor, Glover Johnson, always had a bunch of sheep, but he had no fences. I mean, they were just, the sheep were out all the time. Well, my dad and Bill came around by a place that Bill owned, and it was just covered in sheep. So he said, "Y'all go ride down there horseback," and said, "Run those sheep out of there." Well, and we didn't know anything about sheep, but we got to running those sheep. They just fallen by the wayside dead. I don't know how many we killed, 6 or 8, before we realized that you can't, you know, sheep cannot run. You know, they get hot immediately and croak. Well, she and I took off and got it out of there.
I kind of remember that now. Maybe so. I remember chasing the sheep.
Did you want to say something?
I was just going to say that about the fond memories of some of my fondest memories of Four Oaks were the Christmases, and as Sandy said about decorating the cedar tree that Jack would always bring in the week before, and it was standard that we drew names and usually did for the next year when we were all together, and then we decorated the tree with that ivory flakes, and Gladys would be in there whipping those flakes with water and making the snow for the tree, and all the kids getting in snow fights and throwing all that. But anyway, those are great memories from Christmases and all. But Jerry and Carolyn and Roy Spiegel playing the piano, all that boogie woogie stuff that they did on the
Used to
piano.
square dance
Yeah.
in the living room.
And the men always, at all the gatherings, it was just standard that all the men sat out on the porch in those chairs, and they all reared back in the thing with their feet upon the things, and you can just close your eyes and see all of that, and think about the wonderful And in the latter years, as different ones began to pass on, they had started the tradition, I'm not sure whether it's Gladys or Frosty, started the tradition of lighting a candle on that Christmas meal and have someone, a family member, to light a candle in memory of those who had passed in that year before. And that was a really neat tradition that I hope maybe some of the other families could carry forward.
We still do that.
It's neat. Say a prayer and light the candle.
We do that.
Okay, we got about 5 minutes to wrap up, so go ahead, keep going.